Greetings, and I will be doing the preview for tomorrow's games tonight as well because we have one game, which is an early game, which means I'll be getting up tomorrow morning and doing up a board. I'll do a review for that game specifically, which is Vancouver and Buffalo, which that should be fun because it's two teams with a combined history of about 100 years and a lot of frustration along the way for both teams. And they're both struggling to stay in the playoff race right now. Vancouver having a rough road trip, and Buffalo just has had a rough time of it lately. So I expect some desperate hockey between the two of them tomorrow morning, and that should be fun. Now for tonight, Detroit and Ottawa had a more entertaining game than they have any business having, really. These are two teams that are so far out of the playoffs they can't see it with a telescope. And the first bit of news from this game was that Borowiecki was missing it with the flu. So Borowiecki has a perfect record against the Detroit Red Wings because he didn't play tonight. So I'm not saying that's why the result turns out the way it does, but sure, why not? The Wings nearly scored really early in this, and the shots were 8-3 in favor of the Senators at the half. So the Sens look pretty good, and then Bertuzzi scores from Hronek and Fabry at 14:55. Tyler Bertuzzi, I was watching this tonight and I was thinking about how he's an all-star and all this, and I thought, it's interesting because when he was drafted, he was kind of seen as a reach by Detroit. I remember people saying that he shouldn't have gone, I believe it was second round, that he should have gone around later, and Detroit, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe it was just the name Bertuzzi. It's worked out pretty well for them. Second period, the Senators, as mentioned at the start, had never won 3 in a row against the Detroit Red Wings. So the announcers jinxed him there, I guess. The Wings get a power play. The Senators then took another penalty just before the end of that first penalty, so there was a bit of a 5-on-3 play. But Larkin would score after the 5-on-3 had expired from Hronek and Bertuzzi at 5:32. Nice power play goal by Larkin. And he had a pretty darn good game, that Dylan Larkin, tonight. So it's 2-0. But 22 seconds later, while they're announcing that goal, Tkachuk ties it from Colin White at 5:54. And not that long after that, the Senators get a power play. Their power play didn't suck tonight. White would score on that power play. He tipped a shot from Riley at the point. So Riley and Ennis with the assists at 10:42, and it's 2-2 tie. Mike Riley's looked pretty good for Ottawa so far. I've been impressed with him in the Ottawa Senators lineup. And just add him to the list of players that they've picked up that they might be able to turn into another asset as soon as this summer or this trade deadline. Got a lot of them. So a lot of guys on expiring contracts, a lot of guys that they may be able to flip at the deadline for something back. Third period, the Senators get a power play. Balcers had a chance that went wide. And both teams were turning the puck over, as you might expect, between two of the lowest ranked teams in the NHL. There was a key save for Bernier with about 4 minutes left. The Wings got a power play with 1 minute and 25 seconds left. There was a timeout for the Wings before the power play, but Hogberg was the story in that. Hogberg had an excellent game tonight. He really did. Not that Bernier didn't. Both goalies were better than advertised. In the overtime, how does Filppula miss that? Not the second one. The second one I understand because Hogberg saves it, but that first one, I don't know. And then Green, empty net, and he hits the post. So there's pucks all around the Ottawa net. They're just not going in. And you could see even Bernier at the other end of the ice just what's going on. Just kind of not happy about it. With 2:12 left, the Senators get a power play. They would call a timeout before that power play started. They would not score on it. So we go to a shootout. In the shootout, there's only one goal, and it belongs to Dylan Larkin. So that's your winner. Your final score is 3-2 in favor of the Wings. Bernier saves 28 out of 30. Hogberg saves 26 out of 28. Larkin, White, and Bertuzzi are your 3 stars. 1 for 3 power play for Ottawa. 1 for 4 for Detroit. Shots 10-6 in the first in favor of the Sens. 9-8 Sens in the second. Both teams had 10 shots in the third, and in the overtime, the shots are 4-2 in favor of Detroit. Final shots 31-28 in favor of the road team. But Detroit avoids that third straight loss against the Senators. That is a record that will continue for the time being. Very entertaining game. And again, more entertaining than it has any right to be between two teams that were very lowly rated. But clearly, they haven't stopped playing hockey. Next up, Arizona. This is a rough week for Pacific teams going out east, isn't it? So while Vancouver's just been slaughtered twice in a row in Florida, the Coyotes get shut out by Tampa, and then going into tonight, they didn't get a goal either. Rough back-to-backs for the Arizona Coyotes. They're going to be glad to not see the East Coast for a while. Ranta was tested early. Antti Ranta was in this game, of course, activated from the injured list, and good news for them, it doesn't last. The Canes get a power play. Dangerous power play, got some chances. The Coyotes then got a power play, and during that power play, Aho nearly got his 4th shorthanded goal of the year. Sebastian Aho is pretty dangerous out there. And then Fogle would score from Svechnikov and Gardner at 14-20. And honestly, the Coyotes were fortunate coming out of the first period. It was 1-0. A lot of prime scoring opportunities for Carolina, and Ranta played pretty darn well. So in the second period, the Canes nearly scored at the 5-minute mark, but the Coyotes would get a power play. Their power play didn't generate enough. Evenly played. Both goaltenders were pretty good through that second period, at least through the first half. The Canes had a 3-on-1 that missed, and things looked okay until late. 18:47, Wallmark scores from Hamilton and Slavin to make it 2-0, and then Netchus scores with 10 seconds left in that second period from Dzingel and Howla to make it 3-0. It was a really tough break for the Coyotes. And it would end the night for Antti Ranta in the second intermission. He pulled himself out due to a lower body injury. Now, honestly, going into the third period, as a Coyotes fan, you have to be like, man, they're getting shut out again. What's going on? And then Aiden Hill's in the net. They didn't say what it was, but I was watching Sportsnet while I waited for the 3 stars from this game. And it's a lower body injury. The shots were 4-0 for the Coyotes at 8 minutes. So it's not like Carolina went, hey, look, a new goalie, let's go and take shots on him. Or Arizona just defended really well. Either way, Hill's in there. The Canes get a power play. Hill ended up denying McGinn on the only shot he faced in the third period. Carolina kind of just locked this down. And for Arizona, this is 2 straight times they get shut out. It's a troubling trend, and it's definitely a trend. When it's 2 in a row, it's a trend. That's the 21st career shutout for Peter Mrazek, who saved 32 shots. Ranta saved 25 out of 28 before he was replaced in the third by Hill, who stopped the only shot he faced. 3 stars, Mrazek, Netchus, and Wallmark. And Aiden Hill. That's part of the reason why I like tracking shots and shot save percentages, because he only faced 1 shot. The goals against average would be like 0. Now his save percentage is 1,000, but if he allows a shot in his first shot next game, then his save percentage is 500, and his goals against average would still be pretty decent. Power plays 0 for 3 in favor of, or 0 for 3 for the Coyotes. 0 for 3 for Carolina. The power play wasn't in favor of either team. Shots were in favor of Carolina in the first, 13-11, and in the first, 15-14, and then Arizona led them in shots, 7-1 in the third. So it was a very low chance third period, which is what Carolina wanted. Final shots, 32-29. Like I said, the Coyotes will be glad to have the East Coast behind them, much like the Canucks. Can't wait to see them play against each other on Thursday. That could be quite the game, because Vancouver's been allowing a lot of goals and Arizona hasn't been scoring any. So I don't know how that works. Yeah, your 3 stars are Mrazek, Netchus, and Wallmark. All 3 from Carolina, as it should be. All right, last game of the night. Pittsburgh, the Penguins. They continue on. And the Penguins, it's amazing, you know. Tonight, they write another chapter of this story, and they did it in a way that I'm actually really, really impressed. Murray was tested early, not in the way that he'll be tested later. McKinnon had a break that was denied. The Avs hit a crossbar, but not long after, McKinnon would get a power play goal from Girard and Landeskog at 14:38. Penguins go the other way. They scored a goal. And what I liked is the referee came in and I think he said, I don't think so. Or, yeah, no, that's no way. No way. Something along those lines to the Pittsburgh players who are celebrating. They go like, yeah, no way. Waved it off immediately for goalie interference. Didn't go to a replay or anything. Just, yeah, goalie interference. He ran the goalie over. And no, goalie interference does not always equal a penalty. I've seen that in the comment section. It doesn't. If it's incidental contact, you can wave off the goal, but it doesn't mean it's a penalty. Goalie interference that's a penalty crosses a line where you're just running the goalie over. Incidental contact doesn't qualify. So, it's 1-0 for Colorado after 1. Second period. The first power play of the game is awarded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. This game was more defensive at that point than I had expected it. Not a lot of shots either way. The Penguins get another power play. They don't score on it, but right after it ends, Teddy Bluger gets a goal from Cahoon and Marino at 13:29. Dominic Cahoon is seizing that top winger spot, void by Gensel being out, which Galchenyuk wasn't able to do. So Dominic Cahoon is making it easier for Jim Rutherford to just move Galchenyuk and just be done with it. The Penguins were in full control at that point. It's all them. It's 1-1. It's their game. And then it wasn't. Landeskog scores from Girard at 18:20. I still don't know how that puck goes in. And the Penguins announcers said, well, it changed direction. It was a brutal goal. It was a brutal goal. And Matt Murray should not allow that goal. Absolutely shouldn't. I don't even know if Landeskog was aiming for a shot. It just sort of went in. And the crowd was surprised. Everybody was surprised. Matt Murray was clearly surprised. And it was just awful. So, it's a 2-1 lead for Colorado. So, do they switch goalies? No. Do they hang their heads? No. What I liked was, after that went in, all of the Penguins on the ice went back. And they all patted their goalie. Like, all right, it's fine. We'll get it back. I have to say, I admire what the Penguins have been able to do so far this season through injury and adversity. Third period, Rust would score from Malkin and Cahoon at 1:14. So they tie it up right away. And Murray needs the bounce back at this point in the game because that's one of those goals that Matt Murray's already taken a lot of flack online and just in general for the way he's played this year. You can't pull him out of the game there, I guess, is the thought process. The Avs got a power play, and it was a good third period for Murray. He played pretty well. He faced a ton of shots, and he repelled almost everything he faced. And the physical side of the game really stepped up in that third period. Both teams throwing the body around a lot. The Penguins pushed at 13 and a half minutes. Would not get the goal until Malkin scores from Cahoon and Rust at 15:43. And when they scored, there were a lot of Penguins fans in that crowd. And the number of fans that cheered there, it sounded like it's in Pittsburgh. So either by proportion, there were a lot of Penguins fans, or they were really loud, or both. But it felt like a home game. With 3 minutes and 3 seconds left, there's a delay of game penalty called against the Penguins. They pull the goalie with a minute left after that power play ends, which I thought was smart. Show some faith in your power play, and then when they don't score, then you throw the extra man on the ice so you still have that man advantage. Calvert would get a goal from Makar and Burakovsky at 19:29. No way Murray was stopping that. Aston Reese, however, after the following faceoff, would go in on a breakaway, and he just missed. Aston Reese, with I think it was 12 seconds left, he just misses a chance to win it. So we go into overtime. Both teams had their share of chances in that overtime, although Colorado didn't record a shot. So Pittsburgh had a pretty solid game plan. And what would end up happening is Murray plays it to Marino, Marino plays it to Bluger, and McCann puts it through Francouz at 3:19 of overtime. Pittsburgh goes into Colorado and wins 4-3 in overtime. So Colorado's struggles continue. And for Pittsburgh, it's another win. It's another big win. It's a win on the road. This team is playing really, really well right now. So your three stars are Malkin, McCann, and Landeskog. Murray saved 28 out of 31. So despite that really leaky goal against Landeskog, he gets the win. His save percentage is above 900. Both of those are important. Francouz saves 26 out of 30. Shots favored Colorado in the first 9-7. It was 11-7 in favor of Pittsburgh in the second. 15-10 in favor of Colorado in the third. And in overtime, Pittsburgh gets the only two shots, including the one that matters. Final shots, 31-30 in favor of Colorado. Power plays, 0 for 2 for Pittsburgh, 1 for 3 for the Colorado Avalanche. Great hockey. This was a really, really good game, especially in the third and overtime. It was just some really, really great hockey. With that win, Pittsburgh passes the New York Islanders, move back into second place in the division. With their win, the Carolina Hurricanes gain 2 points ahead of Philadelphia, move within 3 points of the Islanders ahead of them, and they make it so teams below that playoff line are going to have a harder time. With the victory, The Detroit Red Wings go to 27 points. They are now only 25 points out of the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators, with that single point in overtime, that loss in the shootout, they're now only 14 points out of the playoffs. And for Colorado, with that single point, they move within a point of Dallas, but they miss out on that opportunity to jump past Dallas. And so Dallas fans will thank Pittsburgh tonight for what happened here. And for Arizona, again, they miss out on an opportunity. I do believe that now, with that loss, because Vegas has a game in hand, I'm pretty sure Vegas goes back into first place in the division. So Arizona could have been up to 58 points if they could have won both games the last 2 days. Instead, they don't get a goal. And it looks kind of dicey because you've got Edmonton with 53, Calgary with 53, and Vancouver with 50, all trying to push their way up, and Arizona hasn't been getting a lot of points. Neither's Vancouver either, let's be honest, but things set up interestingly for tomorrow as we have 11 games on the schedule. Like I said, I'm doing that preview tonight, so if you're not planning on staying up for that, I totally understand, but I have to because I'm the one making the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Another Friday of action is done. Saturday's upcoming, but it's going to be an easier Saturday for me than usual because we just have the one matinee game, and then there's a break in between the matinee games and the late games, so we'll be able to do other video goodness in between. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Getting pretty close to 131,000 subscribers. Kind of excited about that. And hey, I'll talk to you again soon.